Cool tricks.
Cool tricks.
Nobody loves
Been a while.
Katya.
Cool
Nobody
tricks.
loves
cares
Katya.
for Katya.
Nobody cares
Nobody
for
loves
Katya.
Next season,
Hey,
oops,
say
all
it for Katya.
Kenku.
Oops, all Kenku?
Cool tricks.
Oh, we should be live.
Cool tricks. There we are.
Nobody
there
loves
we
Katya.
are.
Nobody loves
cares
Katya.
for Katya.
Nobody cares for
Nobody loves
Katya.
Next season,
Hey,
oops,
say
all
it.
Kenku.
Hey, there's a chat. There's everything going
I'm
on.
seeing a lot of cool tricks in chat.
I
There we
see it,
are.
I see
There
it.
we
I have
are.
it.
People
Oh, wait.
can hear us.
Nobody loves
Cares
Katya.
for Katya.
Oh, cool, I'm a moderator.
I would hope so.
What? I don't know.
Accidentally had the echo going. It's okay. Okay.
Oh, what? We're bringing you this Q&A from the bottom of a well.
Yes. Hello,
Run down the
everybody,
rope.
and welcome to the post-season Q&A. We are on the heels of our first full season of Campaign 3 here on Rolling with Difficulty, Hunting Party, our descent into the Beastlands. Thank you guys so much, everyone who listened along. As the general warning at the beginning of this episode, there will be spoilers for the entirety of the previous season. So if you are not caught up on Hunting Party and that is something that concerns you, consider yourself warned. But that said, like usual on our Q&As, where we're taking questions from the chat and from our email. So if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in chat. And yeah, everyone feeling good? How we all little check-in post-season? How's everybody feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good,
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna make you guys all my
Sound
friends.
effects.
What?
It feels weird because we had such a big gap between episodes 9 and 10 recording, so it was kind of like we were
Yeah.
done, and then we weren't, but now we're done again. It feels so long ago, but actually we didn't even record that long ago. Episode 10 was not that long
No.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were really good about recording early. Often we start recording like 2 months in advance of a season coming out, and then something will happen, schedules get crazy, and then they become like a 2-week lead time between the episodes actually going up and when we record them. But this season we were really, really good until the absolute last episode, in which case, that's not so bad. That's not too bad for us.
Yeah, bunch of logistical stuff all piled up at once, as is often the
Yes.
case for the end of the year in a video making production schedule. I say from the absolute thick of it. It's fun, don't worry about it.
Yes. Well, all that to say, we're super excited to answer some questions about the characters. This first one comes from our email from Scholarly Nanobot to Austin. The back half of this season featured a handful of objectives that our hunters could take on in any order. What was it like preparing a structure like this? And are there any alternate outcomes for taking a different order you'd like to share? So we had sort of a little bit of a format shakeup this time around with the kind of open world-esque map that you had for us. What was planning that out like? And do you have any
Yes.
little inside baseballs you want to share about that?
I do. Okay, I'll try to keep it short. I think that perhaps there are less details than people would assume, because I had originally started making progress clocks, Blades in the Dark style, for each of these objectives, and then I quickly discovered that was silly. Like, I was trying to get down to like the days. Like, okay, if this is the 5th day and they do this, then this will be different and this will be different. And I was like, no, that is a silly way to do this. You're giving yourself way more work than you need to. You just need to know about how bad things can get. Like, I basically needed to know the ultimate fail state, and then when you guys went, I could be like, okay, this is 3 out of 4. They're about 3/4 of the way through how bad this could get. That's the state should be in. Instead of ahead of time trying to write down every single facet. That was very silly. That way lies madness, Puck Stevens, correct. And it was actually also easier because obviously the first 5 were planned, but then I also, I had I would say to everyone, hey, you got to decide, by Thursday, by Friday, whatever, we usually record on Mondays, what the next adventure you're going to do is, and if you're taking any downtime. And so before episode 6, I knew they were going to go to the dead dinosaur, the flesh hive, as I called it in my notes.
Oh, man.
Nice.
And so
Magnus Archives ass.
Yes, Magnus Archives is incorrect indeed. So I was like, well, I don't need to come up with anything for that one then, do I? Don't need any fail states. So really that only left, 3, because it was 6, so 7, 8, 9, and I knew 10 was going to be confront the big bad. So that was really only 3 that needed to get fail states. And I could kind of just go as I went. And so, yeah, it was a lot easier to do it on the run than my original plan, which was to do it beforehand. So that all being said, I didn't have like necessarily total fail states for everything, but I had an idea. So to give you guys a little idea, for the three that I knew were going to happen at some point, but I didn't know what order, which is meeting the cannibals, the abominations, the hogs, the boar lord adventure, and the ants. I knew that if they went to the cannibals last, then it was already going to be a shrine to oh no, I'm forgetting the little god's name. I can't remember his name. The like cannibalism god that they were accidentally creating a shrine to in this place of power. And the warden would have been dead. That would have been, it would have been too late to save the warden. It would already have been a shrine. It would have been a very difficult encounter because it would have been like a place of divine power, evil divine power. For the pigs, it was going to be like full-on war with the bears if you went there last, and they were gonna be in striking distance of maybe overthrowing the bear lord or something like that. And then for the last one, which is the Devil's Garden, with the ants, which is a real phenomenon. You should look it up in the Amazon. It's very cool. These Devil's Gardens. That one, funny enough, I was having the hardest time coming up with what the fail state was, and then it occurred to me like literally kind of at the last minute as I realized that was going to be the last one. I was like, I really need to figure out what that is. I was like, oh, it just comes to their doorstep. Like, it's right there. They've been avoiding this thing in their backyard. What's the fail state? It shows up there, and not that they couldn't potentially fix it in the future, but it's definitely too late to fix it now. Like, this is going to be a huge fucking problem to deal with this new domain that just emerged of these ants. Getting rid of them is going to be like getting rid of any of the beast lords. They are so ingrained at this point. So that was did I answer sufficiently all aspects of that question? I feel like there were a lot of aspects of that question.
I feel like it was mostly just an in for you to dive into the process of creating this kind of format and the things that could have happened. So I would say, yeah, I think good.
It was a lot of fun.
Please feel free to add more.
I'll finish up here, which is say it was a lot of fun. I was really happy to give you guys the ability to make choices because my least favorite part has always been I control all the adventures so much to make it episodic that I feel like it doesn't empower you guys to necessarily want to go do stuff on your own as much. That was definitely less true last campaign where you had Sigil to kind of explore, but I really wanted to give you the opportunity to say, we're going to do this adventure, and then that one, and then that one. The only problem was when you plan them all up front, you don't realize how repetitive stuff is until you're in it. I was like, why are we fighting ants? We've already fought wasps. It's both colonies of insects taking over. That is hugely redundant, and I would not have made that decision if I didn't come up with the ants until the last week. But as it was, I seeded everything beforehand, didn't think about it, just thought about cool ideas, and then realized later on. So, cuts both ways.
Yeah. Overall, I think it was a really fun shake-up. As a player, it felt very cool to be presented with this map of little interesting things to look at and then be like, oh, okay, how do we want to structure this? Like, there's a lot of freedom in that while still, we make a show for the internet and that show needs to have, an arc to it, and it's still allowed for that arc to happen in a really interesting way. So it's well DM'd, Austin.
This Devil's Garden thing is creepy. Just
They're awesome. I did a whole project on them when I was abroad.
Oh, it's fascinating. I mean, it makes a ton of sense that this is a thing that would not necessarily evolve, but would just show up somewhere. It's just so unsettling. Like I'm not sure how many people would notice going through a forest that suddenly they're in a plant monoculture and like, why? What the fuck is happening?
You do, because everything else is gone. You go from thick, you're brushing against foliage on all sides, to a barren spot with a dozen trees of different ages and just bare ground. It feels like it's super cool.
It's like the horror trope I will always go nuts for is just like literally it's too quiet. Like, why aren't the birds singing? Why aren't the bugs making noise? It's like something's so wrong to make that happen, but it's so subtle. Anyway, very cool shit.
Well, we've got more questions to get to. This one is from chat from nobody in particular. Question for everyone: with all of the characters not meeting up until later on, what character moments or dynamics surprised you? I didn't fucking know anything about anyone else's character before we showed up.
Yeah.
I was just really like, I have no idea how any of us are going to interact with each other. So all of it was surprising is the real answer. But I think it turned out fun. Noir and I are good friends. Not that all of us aren't friends, but we're particularly good friends. And so I had a good sense that Katya and Noir's character, now revealed to be Kireek, would probably be buddies. But I didn't realize it'd be so immediately.
I was
buddies,
also
and
not
I
surprised
love
by
that
this.
for us. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was also not surprised by this.
I was not surprised either.
Mhm.
we're buds.
Yeah,
Buddies.
cool tricks. Oh
tricks.
boy, yeah. I was. Can I answer just Garou's whole deal? Because Wally, you like hyped this guy up as like, hey guys, like I don't want to go too far with this. Like you
Yeah.
guys just tell me and I'll pull it back. And I was like, oh yeah, man, like, this guy's gonna be a real asshole. And then I was like, well, this is just like a guy with a moral code and like a sense of honor and duty and justice, but he's kind of stinky about it. Like. You really had me thinking this guy was going to be a massive jerk. So I think the thing that surprised me was that Triss immediately just filed Garou away as like reliable companion and just didn't examine him further. Like, yeah, this guy's fine. Actually, I get him. Like, is he a mess? Yes. But does he kill things pretty good? Yes. Also, yes. And yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about. I knew Garou going in was going to be very abrasive, and there have been. I literally have like in my notes. I'm like, here's a list of creative insults that I could have for each and every single one of the characters that people are bringing in, and I'm like, we'll pull back a little bit. Let's try not to be too crazy. And I literally, in terms of characters, I knew. Because of some backstory stuff that we'll get into later on, that Garou would probably gel the best with Trystine. I was not sure how he would react to Katya, and I thought for sure he would hate Kireek the second he saw him. But it was him falling into this grudge match with Katya was not something that I saw, and something that happened completely organically.
Did not anticipate that even a little bit either.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess Garou's got some beef with me for some
Austin, I have to
reason.
know. How much were
Yeah,
the
what's
puppets
up?
dancing when you planted those two things in the character backstories?
I didn't plant them in the character backstories. They planted them, and I saw them, and I said, "Oh, great! That's awesome! I can't wait to make it so that they hate each other
Oh, amazing.
for reasons." I don't know if they're super clear yet what the reasons are. Actually,
No,
Well, we know
well,
that
I don't
Garou's
know.
got something about lycanthropy specifically.
Well, Malar is, or Malar, but your
Malar.
patron is somewhat one of the gods of lycanthropy, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Which was not a thing that I thought about even a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. He's doing Beastland stuff to picked a violent god. But yeah, I also spoiler alert, I didn't write a backstory because I have my character has amnesia, so that's on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
You'll
deal
be
is
dead
either.
in the ground before you give a character a backstory.
Yeah.
no,
I
this
have
one's
2 years
different
worth
though.
of
Usually the backstory is nothing important happened. Don't worry about it. This was Sophia stepping outside of her comfort zone a little bit. I think.
I'm doing plot hooks.
Yep.
I don't know what the plot hooks are, but they're there. But yeah, Wally, I mean, enormous compliments. I enjoyed the way he played Garou quite a bit. I had no idea what his beef with Katya was immediately. I did not anticipate that we would be foes in this way, and I think it's fun to play that out, this sort of medium antagonism that's kind of resulted.
I knew that Kireek would want to be friends with everyone, so I was
Well,
okay
yeah.
going into.
What?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about Garou, we've got an email question. Hi, longtime caller, first time listener. Love this season,
What?
its characters and the dynamic between them. This question is for Wally.
Ooh.
How do you find an appropriate balance when playing with a more antagonistic group dynamic? Like that middle ground between either not committing enough to that dynamic versus going overboard with that dynamic. Thanks so much for making a cool show. It's honestly the first D&D podcast I've ever really got into. The horrors never cease. Sourdough Joe. Thank you, Sourdough Joe.
Sourdough Joe.
First of all,
Okay, can we make like an
tag.
NPC in like in signpost or whatever? It's just
Another member of the
Sourdough
Searing
Joe.
Sourdough Joe.
Yeah. Renegade on the run from the Searing Tongue. My
Yeah.
backup character, actually.
But Wally, what is it like playing a evil aligned character and one that is particularly antagonistic to the group at times? And how do you balance that?
I
as
think
you go through?
with anything, it's a matter of just the table that you're at. I'm grateful to have fantastic table that will allow me to play someone so irritating and antagonistic. So 9 times out of 10, like being able to communicate with your DM and your other players will help, play that along. And I'm really glad that I finally got a chance to do this with Rolling with Difficulty. I have played villains before, and it's always a great time. And I'm glad I get to play one now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
It does feel like if we can just, because that
Yes,
question
please.
of like, how do you play a character who will cross lines that you, the player, know might not be great? And like, it really always does just boil down to like, know your table and be willing to like hit pause and be like, is it okay if I get nasty with this? And like have some kind of like, nope, time out, we can't do this system. Because, it's, everyone is kind of, it's an improv game,
Yeah.
You might take a turn that then you're like, oh, that was a mistake actually. And you kind of just need to make sure that your table is cool with everyone being able to like be like, nope, that was too much, hold on, sorry. So walk that back. Or just, pumping the brakes on a bit, because, everyone has different levels of comfort zones and everyone's got different levels to which they're willing to have those comfort zones kind of stretched in different ways. That's why a lot of games now will do like a sort of consent checklist, which we still use the one Noir from the little home game you ran in the Magnus Archives game, which is like, it handles the like red flags thing really well by just giving you like a checklist of like, okay, does this topic upset you? Does this topic upset you? Which is so much better than just having to be like, okay, brainstorm all the things that might be red flags for you and go.
Yeah.
So
I do appreciate that checklist. I think it was adapted from another game. Or it might be adapted from the Cypher system, which the Magnus Archives TTRPG is based from. But I do like it because, like, as opposed to like lines and veils, in which you kind of have to like think of them yourself, and so unless you have them like already like in the back of your mind, it's kind of hard to think of potential lines or veils. This one gives you a potential list that you can be like, oh, I'm okay with this. Oh, I'm not okay with this. Actually, thanks for thinking of this.
What's that Brooklyn Nine-Nine bit where the guy's like, all right, here are the ground rules. You can stab me, set me on fire.
Punch me,
Or
kick
Jason
me
Mantzoukas.
on the
Punch me,
table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire is, you can use fire.
Yeah. Oh,
Fire is
and I will
okay.
add, lastly, is ultimately at the table, it is a cooperative game. So making sure your character, although will go against the grain, has to eventually start to contribute to the party. Right. You can't go full lone wolf attitude the entire time. And I'm glad. And I had like 5 episodes to slowly break down a Garou so that he would be more and more open to interacting and being vulnerable with some of the other people on the carpet. So
The carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, the carpet. Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Our magic carpet.
Yes.
I do think
sorry.
that's just that specific thing about like your character cannot be an entirely lone wolf thing is like, yeah, like, technically speaking, like any kind of person can exist in the world of D&D, but who's going to go out and adventure in a group like we're doing at this table? Like there's a selection pressure for people who work well in teams. So I think it's always useful, like rule 1 day of character creation is like your person needs to have a reason to be in this party and continue adventuring. And like that can change in the future, and then you can retire that character and bring in a new one. That's fine. They don't need to stay an adventurer forever, but you need to start with a reason. Like you can't just be like, I'm John Lone Wolf. I sit in the corner looking cool and I don't like anybody and I work alone. It's like, okay, goodbye, John Lone Wolf. Bring in a guy who actually works with the party.
Yeah, I think it helps to remember too, like in our case, we're performing in a show, but we're also playing a game. And when you're in your home game, you're playing a game with your friends, and it is okay to break the immersion a little bit to check in, because you can always take advantage of going above the table and being like, this is what my character's thinking of doing. It's maybe not going to gel well. Are you guys okay? Is this okay? Or will this make people uncomfortable? Like it's immersion breaking, but at the end of the day, it's better to be on good terms with everyone at your table than it is to perfectly maintain the immersion of the gameplay constantly. And I think that when you're playing an evil PC in particular, it's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. And it's something that we've done on the show periodically, where it's been like, okay, let's go above table for a moment, not to metagame necessarily, but just to be like, here's what I'm thinking of doing. I don't want to like ruin anyone's fun here. It came up with the finale of this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 of us were ready to throw hands, and I'm like, well, I don't want to just commandeer the controls and wrestle us out of here because that's not what Katya wants to do. Are you guys cool with it if I, try and talk our way out? And we were able to play that out still in, I think, a very dramatic way, but everyone felt good about it above table as well as in the game itself, and that's an important balance to strike. And Wally, you do a very good job of striking this balance to complement Garou further.
That final
Another
episode,
thing. Oh yeah. Another thing that we've been doing is Another thing that we've been doing is like post-session talk, just like making sure that everyone is okay with the decisions that we made, and we make sure that the PC's decisions are the PC, and it's not like emotional bleed into the players' lives or anything like that. And so like we do like stars and wishes, for instance, to like highlight particularly like cool moments, cool performances, and so that's just another way that we reinforce like keeping things at the table, not having them bleed over into like our personal relationships.
Which is, it's such an interesting thing to unpack too, because like a lot of the time, like, oh, my character is experiencing a very strong like emotion. I, the player, am probably also experiencing a strong emotion. It's just probably a different strong emotion. Like, oh, Trystine is having a really bad day. I'm having a goddamn blast. And like, Noir, when you ran the Die RPG one shot, I spent most of the finale of that like full crying. But I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna get such a good grade in having emotions in character. Like, it's the intensity of the emotion you feel at a table can like scale. Your character can be experiencing something intense, and you can be experiencing something intense, but they're usually not the same something. And it's remarkably easy to separate that out. Like, I think you can tell. Like when any of us is having a bad day, usually you can like tell because we're less in character. So it's a really interesting, question, but it's communication. You just got to be able to communicate and be like, hey, this is rough or awesome. This is great.
About maintaining the fun of the game for your table, and doing that is important to communicate. But speaking of communicating, we should communicate the answers to other questions as well.
Yes.
Keep
it rolling.
Gonna take another one in the chat here from Shane Destroyer to me. What do you know about Katya? Do you have reasons that she's been run out of everywhere, or do you know how she's lost her memory? I don't know how she lost. I mean, I know how she lost her memory. She made a deal with some entity to lock the werecat away, but I genuinely did not give Austin specifics on what that entity was or how that went down. I don't know if it was a positive interaction. I think Katya assumes it was a positive interaction that she asked for, but I don't know that that's true. I think I literally wrote in the notes, Katya doesn't know this information, so you get to fill in the blanks, Austin.
Fuck me up, fam.
Yeah, fuck me up, dude. Fire is okay. But I it's a little bit of an improv exercise. I do have a list of planes that she's been run out of, and my thought was I would just offer this whenever it came up, but I don't know that it will necessarily always come up. Would you guys like the list of places Katya cannot go?
Hold on, let me pull up my map for reference.
To be clear, these are areas that she's been to in the last and run out of in the last 2 years.
The last 2 years.
It can't be anything previous.
Oh my god.
Katya has a very low charisma score.
Okay. Where the fuck is my posters? There it is. Okay. I just want the visual reference of the map so I can tell what we're talking about.
This is the list of places that Katya cannot go. I can't go to Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, really any of the Swords Coast. City of Brass, that's a fun story, I think. City of This, not as much of a fun story. Can't go to the plane of air, earth, or water. Can't go to Elysium. I can't go to Arborea. I went to Elshava once, and everyone chased me out because I, quote, harshed the vibe. The Feywild, I think it's hard to remember. The second layer of Avernus, the first layer of Acheron. Eagle, technically not the entire city, but if you piss off the Searing Tongue, it's hard to find a place to stay when every restaurant, inn, and tavern will chase you out on sight. So, Beastland's kind of the best option at this point.
That's okay. Really I like how it's specific. Like in some of them it's like this specific town doesn't like me, and in others it's like I'm not welcome in this dimension.
Yes. If offered, I can easily expand this list, but that's what I wrote down for comedy ha-has.
How'd you piss off the entire plane of air? What's even in the plane of air?
Well, the thing is, if you add anything to the plane of air, it becomes much more of a problem.
Second layer of Avernus.
So Katya's been like speed running different cities and like getting kicked out of them in a matter of months. Like weeks to months.
something Austin told us before we jumped into the campaign was to think of what your character might have done, because we started at a much higher level than usual. Like, what makes them a great, powerful wizard or a great, powerful, sorcerer, talent, barbarian, warlock situation. So I was like, okay, well, I only have 2 years of backstory realistically. So it's less that Katya has done something mighty and heroic, and just that she has had to cram so much learning from experience on the fly into 2 years. Then she's not good at it because she has the social graces of a 2-year-old. So it's just a lot of doing readings and being honest, and inevitably not including the information the person actually wanted. My good example of this would be like the Searing Tongue must have hired her to predict how a banquet would go, and she said something like, it'll be an event that'll stay with you even till the next morning, and then the next morning everyone woke up with like food poisoning or something, and that's not really what the Searing Tongue wanted to know, but she wasn't technically lying to them. It's just not the right information, and so that's why they're pissed off. Like, it's some playing with this idea of like just not quite getting what the pertinent information is, but being technically very proficient.
It's so funny that you've essentially created an inverse con artist. Like, people in real life who do this grift are like really good at reading people and telling them what they want to hear, but Katya is too good at actually seeing the future. So
it's compensating, and I think it's fun. It's very fun to go into what I've set up this campaign as a series of improv exercises for myself between the tarot card reading and Katya's ambiguous, if you name a plane, I'll give you a reason I can't go there backstory. And it's been very fun to play with those particular antics. But yeah. We'll take another question for chat. To Austin, any thoughts on the decision of throwing the big bad evil guy in a very casual talk? Any fear about the players just attacking it?
I was hoping they'd attack him.
Yeah, I don't think the fear was that we might attack the big bad.
I think the plan was.
I did all this work prepping just in case they did. I was also super excited with their outcome. I strongly suspected they would try to find another way. But you never know. That would have been a very, very interesting combat for sure. I spent basically the all of this season being like, how can I like finally test these fuckers? Like, they just because of the way that D&D is designed, it's just so easy to blitz. If you're doing these one-off stories, it's so easy to blitz through and then just rest. So unless there was a narrative stake with timetable, which by the way there was. But it wasn't like, every hour mattered. It was more like, you probably got to get these things done over the course of a couple of days. It's very hard to challenge high-level players like this. So yeah, no, I was happy that I finally put them in a place that they were like, we gotta fucking back down, or we're gonna die. So no, I was not afraid that they were going to fight. I was hoping they would fight, and I thought that would be cool if they did. I was also very, not to say I was disappointed with what happened. But yeah, it was, I also had this problem, and I talked about it a lot. I realized it, like, as I was prepping this final episode. Here you go, folks. This is the behind the scenes, and maybe me saying this will make you look at the entire season less favorably as a result. But I was like, fuck, I fucked up. They don't know who this big bad is, so they don't give a shit. They're going to show up, it's going to be some monster, and they're going to go, okay, cool, bang, you're dead. And that's going to be the least the least dramatic finale we've ever had on this show. And I was really beating my head against a wall trying to figure it out. And I always talk to Victoria about these things, and I talked about Victoria and couldn't come up with anything. I spoke to Linny about it, and they were like, do you want to call and talk it out? I was like, that's very nice of you. I literally don't have time to do that, but that's super nice of you to offer. I was like really beating my head against the wall trying to figure it out, and then I realized like, oh, I think he's just gonna live though. I think that they're not gonna be able to kill him, and so instead of this being the end, this is kind of the beginning. Everything went I think very, very well. It was very dramatic. And it set us up, and I feel like it was a very positive finale. And some people, Pavs, I know you've also asked about using a beholder when we just had a death tyrant. And on the one hand, there's a couple reasons for why I decided to do that. I wasn't like, I'm going to double up on this. I just was like, I don't think this bothers me. One, beholders are awesome. quintessential D&D. I knew that a beholder was going to be behind all this stuff because I thought it was fitting. Of course, it's a gamble, but I mean that's all D&D. We're rolling dice, you know. You got to take those risks if you want the high highs. You got to accept there might be low lows. Beholders are cool. I didn't think that the Death Tyrant fight was a real fight because one, I nerfed it, and two, I knew that there was going to be a Deus Ex Machina that came in to save their butts after they did the point of the fight. Right, they were stopping the ritual. Actually defeating the Death Tyrant was going to be a Deus Ex Machina, right? So when they hit a success state, there was going to be this thing that came in and saved them. So I didn't think that was too redundant because they didn't really even fight. It was a beholder. This was going to be way more of a character. I mean, they did meet Merimoth. He was very much a character, but then he also had a twist with him, and there was. I feel like it was suitably different. And the last thing I'll say is, I think a lot of people assume that they've met the campaign big bad. No. They've just met one bad fucker in the Beastlands. There is plenty more evil, and Vasilix. I think I've said it multiple different ways. I think I'm gonna have to lock in a Vasilix. Vasilix alluded to that he's like, I have not had my metaphorical fingers in all these pies that you guys are describing. So there's a lot more going on than just him. So it was not like, we'll just do 2 beholders in a row. He's more he's definitely a bad guy, but he is not the be all end all.
I'm really excited that we finally get to just like fight a proper beholder. Because first of all, this party is 50% spellcasters, and beholders have an anti-magic ray. Like it's gonna be bad. Like when we went into that final confrontation, I was like, okay, great, we did a short rest. I have 3 total spell slots. Like, if this turns into a fight, I have at most 3 rounds in me, and then I'm just dead weight. So, like, okay. And it was so interesting from an RP standpoint, because, like, I think 3 out of 4 members of the party were like, I really, really, really want to attack this guy, even if I, the player, know it's a terrible idea. And only Katya was holding it down, and then, nope, we're getting out of this alive, everybody.
Don't survive getting run out of half the planescape without, getting some instincts for what you can't and can't survive.
It was so interesting, because, like, I took a break between playing characters who will jump at the chance to punch above their weight class and get me in trouble. For campaign 2, I was like, no, Beleg is sensible. Beleg is gonna take things slow and chill. And I was like, nope, I'm back to playing the kind of person who will jump off the thing to try and punch the dragon. So I was like, okay, I'm holding the leash, but it's not gonna hold for long, guys. How are we getting Triss out of this without fucking going down swinging? So. Like, the threat was not that we were going to find a way to kill Vasilix on our first encounter. I don't think there was a universe where that happened without us taking a long rest and giving him time to cook up some other part of the boss fight.
Yeah, it was
another thing that I thought of was that like I was really interested to see how Kireek would fare if he were to just fight a beholder, partially because I believe psionics are immune to the anti-magic ray that beholders would be giving out.
Well,
but 2,
we can't counterspell them, so presumably it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep counterspelling.
It is a different
spellist until I get to cast it.
It is a different thing entirely.
But 2, the whole concept of really trying to whittle down player PC resources by having them do multiple encounters, and having them take the short rest and then still having them do multiple encounters afterwards. Those are where talents really shine, because there are instances in which you can just deal pretty consistent damage while expending 0 resources. And so I could absolutely see an instance in which Kireek would be like Garou was like, okay, you guys leave him alone. I'll fight him. Kireek was almost going to be like, no, I'll do that. Because I'm pretty sure I fare a better chance, and also I don't care if I die or not.
But
but yeah, like that's where talents really shine, just being able to like keep going when everyone else has expended all of their resources and everything like that. So
yeah, I will be interested to see how we fare when Austin starts giving us adventures where we can't get in a long rest. Like, it's not just, oh, you can, but maybe the clock will move forward, because the toughest fight I had in this season was my intro episode, because it was 3 encounters in a row. Like, when I got dragged to the Beastlands in Grofgander's mouth, I was like, I have 2 spell slots and I just burned the one that I could have used to Dimension Door out if I got swallowed. So like, this is actually dire. And then ever since then, it's like, oh man, that was tough. You almost got me to half my hit points, and then it was back at full the next day. So I'm excited for the ass kicking to intensify in season 2.
That is definitely going to be the biggest to do for me.
You can use fire.
From a large scale GMing standpoint, is to be like, okay, how can I take these higher level guys? The way I got around it in the first campaign in Paraspora was that you guys just like went on longer missions typically.
Right.
Or like I strung the episodes together because by the time you were high level, it was pretty. It was like, you know, high stakes, right? So you had descent through the abyss, spoilers, descent through the abyss, fight your way aboard the ship, destroy the enucleator, destroy, man, I can't remember his name, but the Elder Brain Mind Flayer,
Right.
and then Dexter, right? Like those were 5 big encounters all in a row that were over 4 episodes or something like that.
Yep. Good
So
season to be a
I was
martial
able.
class. Can't run out.
Yes,
of
I was
punches.
able to stretch that out, but here, you know, unless I want you guys to do a lot fewer adventures, which is kind of against our format, I can't just do that to you constantly. So I'll need to be creative.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some tastes of that in the last 2 episodes where, you know, obviously we had a big ant and then dragon encounter, and then in order to keep the party moving on the trail of something that would get away faster, we forewent any longer than a short rest and went right after the dragon further. And so there's a good chance there's probably gonna be some stuff like that popping up in season 2.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fine. Like, Garou is also built for adventures via short rests. I tested it a little bit in episode 5, where instead of taking the long rest with everybody else, he kind of just took a short rest. Mostly because he didn't trust the party enough to sleep around them. That was the narrative reason that I gave. And it didn't end well. But it went better than I thought it would.
I'll be interested to see, because I feel like our party comp shifts dramatically after a certain amount of time spent without a long rest, in terms of like who's capable of doing the most. Because I feel like both our casters wipe out if we can't take a long rest.
Well,
Garou can
interestingly,
continue on a short.
not so much for Katya, because the way that the divination wizard works is if I cast divination spells of high enough level, I get lower level spell slots back. So there's a way for me to compensate if I know we're going into a longer adventure. So like, it's this is something that's not really come up too much because we've mostly done shorter adventures, and I haven't had to deal with this resource thing, and I was managing my ferocity on the side, which is a different numbers thing, and Sophia's numbers brain is stupid. But there's a lot of ways for me to manage spell slots and resources, but Katya's not a big damage dealer, so if you start to lose Triss's spell slots, this actually becomes kind of a bit of a party comp shift.
It's a different,
not in a useful way.
Well, it's a different calculus for Triss because sorcery points do replenish on a short rest and they can be converted into spell slots. It's just very inefficient, and I haven't yet been in a place where I have to do it. But like theoretically, on like short rests only, I could still get back a handful of higher level spell slots, but I won't have my heaviest. I don't know. I just think it could be interesting. I'm a big fan of taking powerful characters and then pushing them to their absolute limits. So again, I'm very excited for the ass kicking to intensify in season 2.
Very much so.
On my own head may it be, but like me sowing. This is awesome. Me reaping. What the fuck? This sucks.
Well, separate from that, we've got a question. We got 2 questions in chat for Noir that I'm going to mush together into one question because they're very related. Whose character voice is the most fun to imitate as Kireek, and what is your favorite copy moment? And how many notes do you take on what people are saying for use as Kireek?
Yeah. Well, Katya is obviously like my favorite to voice, just simply because the accent is really fun to do. But my favorite,
nobody cares for Katya.
Nobody cares for Katya.
Nobody likes Katya.
She's just so
Nobody likes
charming.
Katya. But my favorite copy moment was the little cutting and rearranging that I did with Garou's story.
Oh yeah, that
in
was
the
really
end
cool.
of at the end of the season. It was just like, ooh, you're giving me a whole canvas of words. Ooh, let me just like the magnetic words of Shakespearean terms on Sophia's fridge. Let me just rearrange
Noir
them.
loved my fridge magnets.
let me rearrange them into a differently meaning but still intentional story.
One of
But,
the interesting things about like Kireek doing that was I was looking over the character sheet and thinking about like next season, and technically because Garou's been in the Beastlands alone by himself for a very long time, and the reason why he speaks the way that he speaks is because his speech comes from the book. Like that's literally his education.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's continue to he reads those stories to himself every night before he goes to bed, and that's how his vocabulary has developed. So it's really cool seeing like Kireek also kind of adapting and doing the same thing.
Wow, this is really the season of I don't really have an identity. I guess I'll take it from something else, huh?
Yeah.
It always
and
counts
then
on 2-year-old McGee to give everyone their identity.
No, you're in the bucket, my friend. I don't remember anything. I guess I'm a rogue and a rapscallion.
It goes very
and
clear
then-
that I'm a wizard, not a rogue.
as for the notes that I took, I have literally in my character sheet a section called "Stuff to Mimic," and I have the following. I've got to censor these things from Ophelia. You got a name, friend, from Rawl. Yip Yip from Rawl. Mayaliki from Rawl. Katya, the seer stray. Do you taste fear from Garou?
Oh, yeah.
I brought you back to kill you myself, also from Garou. Trystine
yeah.
Snaiskala of the mountain and town Snaiskala. The egg of a dragon. Garou, the beast, the bloodied mask of Malar, killer of Karasutra. And then, oddly enough, thank you, also from Garou. and then atonement from Trystine.
Yay! That was
I
my
will
favorite moment, but because I was involved.
Yeah. I'll give a chance to highlight that in the Discord, people have been making an effort to try and log words that Kireek has heard that could be useful for me to use as Kireek. So if you want to help me out immensely and help with that effort, check out the Discord and new episode discussion.
Those guys are in the weeds. They're dealing with the fact that there's a slight disparity between Spotify and YouTube in the speed at which it plays back. So over the course of several hours, the timestamps are slightly different. So they're like, we have to account for this. We need to make sure that he knows the exact right line we're referencing.
Oh, no. That was me. I was like, I noticed that there is a disparity in Spotify and YouTube. So you guys got to put down the correct timestamp so that I can look at it.
You're in the weeds.
Yeah.
Is
I
the
also
disparity
took-
so much so that if you went to that timestamp, you would be hearing a different line, or is it like
It's a couple of seconds off, so you would hear it eventually, but I like to be exact. I also took it upon myself. I also took it upon myself to add YouTube links to the YouTube moment in the video, so that I can just click on it and I would hear the voice clip. So, yeah.
Wild.
Very, very fun. Well, we've got another question from the email here. Hi, all. Before the season started, we got some insight into the character's opinion on the leader position in the party. Now that their first season together is over, how do they feel? Is anyone sure that they are the leader? Is anyone actively avoiding the role? Does someone think a particular person should take it on? Or has the idea been completely abandoned?
Oof.
I won't do it again. I refuse. I'm simply not interested.
I think Garou, I don't think he wants to be the leader, but he's the one most familiar with the Beastlands, and he's been taking this laissez-faire approach to, oh, you guys want to go do X, Y, and Z? By all means. He's like trying to let the rest of the party just learn and deal with the consequences of going about the Beastlands. His annoyance of them constantly wanting to go to some sort of city or civilization in order to rest and recoup. But I think as we got further and further down into some of the other layers, ones that he's more familiar with, I think we'll start to see him step up a little bit, use some of his knowledge, all as flawed as it may be, to guide the party through some of the more tougher creatures that we might run into.
I think
I'm
Triss
really
has
excited for this. I'm really excited for this to happen, Wally, because I do fear that like Katya has no strong opinions about who should be the leader, because I don't think she really thinks we need one. But if Garou is the one taking the lead, she's gonna be like, "Well, I simply must antagonize him because he took me that one time." So good.
You'll have someone
Orange
complaining when
is
things go
forced
tits
to
up.
lead.
Yeah.
I think that Triss has this perspective on the position of leader where like she spent most of the season kind of keeping the party in the work acquaintances bucket, and that only changed as of the final episode, and now she's like, okay, I've gotten attached, I'm in it for the long haul. But I think she doesn't want to be like, yes, I give the orders and you do this and you do that, and that means if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. I think she desperately wants to avoid that. But there is a part of her, and it's the combined ego of being both an elf and a dragon, where she's like, well, of course I'm kind of in charge. Like, obviously. In the same way that Sneskala is in charge of the town, but she doesn't, like, collect the taxes or anything like that. It's a different kind of in charge, I think. So like it's not great. It's more kind of like archaic concept of nobility as like you're a separate kind of person that's just sort of higher up than everybody else. Like it's not a good quality necessarily for her to have. I just think it's in her head as like a part of the way the world works. So
Kireek thinks he's the leader. Kireek thinks the job of the leader is to keep the party together, which he's been trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, you never mind. Kireek is the leader, and he has my support.
Yes, out of character, I would also support Kireek as the leader. In character, if Katya likes Kireek, she'll happily follow him without trying to antagonize.
Hey, listen, I am happy being the team powerhouse. That means that I get to do the cool stuff, and I'm not in charge when things go wrong.
I think
That would oddly make Garou the smart guy because of his knowledge of the Beastland.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
What if we unleashed? Well, the thing is, if Kireek is the leader, the Garou is the lancer, and then Katya is the smart guy. So it all actually breaks down pretty smoothly.
I think it also comes down to like everybody's area of expertise. Like Garou trusts Kireek's knowledge of aberrations, and to an extent, Katya's as well. You know, he recognizes that their acuity with these creatures is valuable to him, and one of the reasons why he hasn't outright been more hostile to them. And obviously, like Garou trusts Trystine's combat acuity. Like he's in his mind, like she's the big guns. You know, we need the big guns.
Oh, shuck.
And that it's part of, and the last thing specifically about him, like not seeing himself as the leader in terms of like the layers of the Beastlands, he knows Kragala the least. You know, so them relying on the resources of the growth of the unicorns and my lake, he's like, fine, this is just gonna be how things go. This is how I survive on this layer. But we'll see how things go moving forward.
Yeah,
I gotta say though,
please,
just real quick, I think probably the moment Trystine was most comfortable was when they walked in that cave and there was a beholder there. She's like, oh, fucking finally, something I actually know. Something that you're supposed to fight. Okay, I'm back in my element. It's time to start talking shit. I just wanted to drop that because I thought it was so funny. I was like, oh, she's so comfortable in here.
Yeah, I think, Wally, your point about everyone has their own specialty on this team is really the core of it. We like to joke about who's the leader because our last two campaigns have had distinct leader-based team formats. You know, a crew has to have a captain. The agency had an owner. Like these were very built-in, baked-in rules. But now we're kind of more of a traditional TTRPG party, and that doesn't necessarily need to have a person who is the leader. You know, like we can all kind of have specialties and take the lead in different situations, and that's really what's been happening this campaign. And I think that that's the best way to go about it. It is very funny to see who thinks they're the leader and who outright refuses and how that all plays out. But at the end of the day, I think what's the dynamic actually plays out is there isn't a leader of the hunting party. If anyone, it's like Mialiki or something. Like we are kind of an equal group, as it were, with just different specialties. And that's party balance. That is good game design.
Yeah.
I'm going to put ragtag bunch of misfits on my resume for next season.
Yeah. Well, we've got time for, I think, a couple more questions here. This one comes from the chat for Samuel Taylor. What kind of clothes would the hunting party wear in modern day?
Huh.
How would your character get dressed today?
Classic quintessential punk for Kireek.
Oh.
I'm picturing, and maybe it's just because I watched this morning at 9 a.m. TMNT Out of the Shadows, but I'm picturing Bebop and Rocksteady. You know, I'm picturing like a Ninja Turtle
Honestly,
punk outfit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like the jean jacket with the sleeves cut off so they're frayed at the edges, the chains, the spikes. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's good.
Are
that's
we
good.
in this conceit? Are we doing like our characters are in the modern day and also no longer adventurers? Because
I
like-
guess it's up to you how you want to interpret it, but I assume, I mean, go nuts, I guess.
well, it's just
How do
like
you
you wear
perceive
functional
a-
equipment if you're going adventuring, even in the
Well, do
modern
you think
day.
Trystine would, regardless, be wearing functional equipment for whatever modern day thing she was doing? So I think
Well, I
the answer
mean-
could be yes both ways.
No, you know what? I've made up my mind. It's cargo pants. The only thing she really cares about is pockets. She travels very light otherwise.
Hey, I
I
feel
got
that.
Beleg
I get
again.
that.
Beleg dadwear
No,
again.
listen, Trystine is a young, beautiful woman. When she wears cargo pants, it's like K-pop Demon Hunters fashion statement
Yeah,
stuff,
more-
okay?
more-
it's
more
a
Kim
completely
Possible.
different thing than
Yeah.
the dad vibe.
Yeah.
So Kireek is wearing punk outfits. Trystine is dressed like a K-pop artist.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can
Wally,
live
what's
with this.
Garou wearing?
Okay, look. What's really funny is that Garou has not been wearing all that much clothing
Yeah.
throughout the first, like, it hasn't really been mentioned, but Garou does not wear a whole lot of covering. He covers the important bits, and that's the important part. But if he's forced to wear clothes, I feel like he'd be like overalls kind of guy. Overalls and a nice straw hat.
Just overalls.
Yeah, nothing else. No shoes. Just like, why would he go out? He'd just
Yeah,
be in his
Garou
little
getting ready to
cabin in the woods, overalls, and a straw hat.
clock in at Stardew Valley.
Yeah. With a single little straw sticking out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Katya does not dress too dissimilarly from how I imagine a wizard would dress in D&D world. I do think it's a lot of like long layers, long dusters, shawls, cardigans. Definitely still the big hat. Not a wizard's hat. It's gonna be flat on top now, but the brim is equally large, so it's just a really wide hat.
Oh, so
Um,
like those goths that dress like they're actually allergic to sunlight.
Yeah, exactly that. Actually, 100%. That vibe entirely.
Amazing.
Um,
Okay, so you're rocking
Yeah.
the Strange Eons fit, and everyone else is dressed like an absolutely eclectic mess.
we would be, I think, a really easily spotted group at a mall of like misdressed teens with their specific subcultures. Like we're all bopping from Hot Topic to Zoomies. Like we got this covered. And I think
Very
that's
true.
good for us. That's the ideal D&D party dynamic. Austin, I want to open this question up to you as well. Is there an NPC you have any thoughts on modern attire from this campaign?
Yeah, how's
I think
Ophelia
I'm
dripped out in?
Fashion enough, but how is Ophelia dressed? What would like the most condescending grad student wear?
Oh, well,
Like-
actually, I can answer that.
As someone in
resident
academia
grad
noir, yeah, if you could, what would the most condescending grad student wear?
It's very much like dark academia type wear, like I'm honestly imagining you know how Ransom in Knives Out
Oh, the
has
giant
that-
navel knit
Yeah.
sweater.
has the giant knitted
Dude.
sweater that's like
Yeah,
clearly
for
very
sure.
expensive, but also like frayed, indicating that he doesn't really take care of it all
Uh-huh.
that well.
Yep.
Like it's that perfect blend of like I'm preppy enough to dress like it, but also I work really hard enough to not care about how I maintain my clothing.
I just
I'm
know
so sorry.
Ophelia
I
has a
just
Pinterest
saw-
board, an Instagram aesthetic account with fall vibes.
Yeah.
I just saw
Yeah,
in chat.
and I think her
Miyuki and
glasses are
Lisa
half the
Frank
outfit.
attire, and I gotta shout that
What?
out. That's so funny.
What? Okay,
What'd you say?
but what is Lisa Frank attire? Because that's like the fucking Technicolor rainbow like unicorns and kitties shit. Like that's
Yeah, I'm just kind of picturing that, but like now you've made an entire outfit out of it, and or maybe that Mayaliki just is the unicorn on the Lisa Frank book.
I could see.
I don't think Miyaliki would wear anything that draws this much attention to her.
No.
I think she
Yeah.
would hate that.
Yeah.
I think she's got a hoodie that's got the drawstrings pulled tight.
Aw.
She
So like
rocked
an
that
undergrad
Aw.
student aesthetic.
Like an undergrad student
Yeah.
aesthetic. Yeah. No one perceive her is kind of her vibe.
She's in the back right corner of the classroom with her chair tilted back so nobody can see what she's doodling.
Yeah.
That's okay, Miyaliki. I've been there.
I think yeah, but yeah.
Nobody
she's
knows I'm
doing
the
is
god of
unicorn.
unicorns or whatever.
That's a little bit. I don't know if this like really got across, but like she showed up in two different forms, which is not a thing you ever like. with all of your god experience, which is mostly Mistra, I hope that it came across that they're very, very, very different in disposition.
Oh,
Because Mistra always showed up as herself,
Mhm.
right? And Myaliki showed up as a unicorn for a while and then herself, and she behaved differently. Or if I did a good job, it seems like she behaved differently in both forms.
Oh, for sure.
I think that Myaliki is a way more. She's less of a combined whole person the way Mistra is, and Myaliki is more like she's got different angles and aspects to her, and they manifest differently, and it makes her overall a less. She's less personable and easy to communicate with than even like Mistra is. Mistra still has, for all her power, Mistra still has a very human streak in her, and I don't think Myaliki really has that.
Yeah, no, I like her. I'm really interested to see if more stuff like if we descend layers, are we gonna stop being able to hang out with her?
Yeah, she's got she can her actually I have to double check. There might be echoes of her realm throughout, but
Ooh.
I
She's
think
also
the answer is
a
that
bigger power. So like she'd have.
she's also she's she can find you if she needs to. She's very powerful. She's not quite Mistra, but she's definitely above Malar.
Sick.
We also have a device that can create a permanent like teleportation
Yes, you
circle.
do.
Oh yeah.
So if we ever wanted a hub back to the Grove of the Unicorn, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think some ways to play with it for sure. We've got our hub world set up. We're coming up on time for the Q&A stream. Thank you guys so much, everyone who joined us. I got one last question, and this one is from me to Austin, actually. Did Cyprius ever find his keys?
Oh.
Did Cyprius ever find his keys? No, he got a new door.
Wait, but this is from campaign 2, right? So this hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I would forget. Well, she is a diviner. She would know.
That's true.
Katya wakes up in the middle of the night. Cyprius found his keys. Okay.
What is the
We gotta use that for more
what-
comedic
what
potential.
What would the Doofenshmirtz like? What would Doofenshmirtz do if he lost his key? I mean, obviously he'd build an innator, but I'm trying to think of like what is the ridiculous?
That's literally a plot point from one of the Phineas and Ferb episodes.
Is that the thing where he builds like a Find My Keys innator or something like that?
Yes, literally, and it's like, this isn't even my real innator. This is my real innator, but I lost the keys to it, so I built this innator to find the keys to my real innator.
Yes, we're pretty rigid here about trying to keep each campaign its own separate thing, so you can, watch one and enjoy the full story, and you don't have to worry too much about like knowing all the lore of the other ones. They're all in the same world, but they're doing very different things from each other. I do hope that Cyprius shows up in campaign 3. I don't know how we get him out of Sigil, but I want to. Maybe it's a flashback and Katya's in Sigil and she goes to meet him. I don't care how we do it. I need the one multiverse breaking character to be this fucking little guy. I love him so much.
I should put some elbow grease into figuring out how to get him in there.
Oh my god.
It's okay. If Garou dies, I'll just play Cyprius. It's okay.
I was gonna say we can just make Cyprius one of our backup characters.
Yep.
Yeah. I contact other plane and it goes through to Sigil somehow, and Cyprius answers of all
20th level
powers.
Artificer with
Potion maker.
Specialization in potions.
Yep. Easy. Done.
Yeah. But thank you for humoring me on that, Austin. I'm glad to know that our guy found a way into his business, if not maybe through the intended method. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this Q&A. I hope you guys have questions answered and questions yet to come. We'll be back this winter with our second season in Hunting Party. And in the interim, we've got some one-shots planned as a little sneak peek. The first one will be run by yours truly, and it's going to be in the Slug Blaster system. So stay tuned for that, as well as
Totally
some other
tubular.
fun. Totally tubular. I spent an entire month watching.
We gotta go plan it
movies.
right
I'm
now.
so ready. Yeah, but it's gonna be super fun. We're so excited. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to keep the conversation going in the off season, be sure to check out the Rolling with Difficulty Discord server. And if you want to support the podcast directly, be sure to check out our Patreon. We also still currently have a bunch of Voss and Virla pins available. So if you haven't had a chance to pick those up yet, go do that now. What are you waiting for? They're still in stock for the time being. But yeah, that's my outro, my announcements.
Go get your boys.
Yeah, if you want more
Thanks for
Q&A,
listening.
once a month we do Patreon Hangout, so you can
Yes.
join.
Yes.
If you join at the high enough level of the Patreon, you can have your question answered. You can come ask it there, and we usually do like an hour and a half a month for a much narrower group. Then else we probably talk about comic books or cartoons or some bullshit.
Yeah, usually we just talk about whatever, but if you put a question in chat, we will answer it. It's just normally people are just kind of happy to let us shoot the shit.
But
We're
that's it. Thank you
yappers.
for listening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're all yappers, and so we will have to. I'm gonna make a producer decision that we need to stop yapping now. And
No more yapping.
Thank you guys for listening, and catch you next time. Catch you in season 2.
Season 2.
Cool tricks.
Out.
Cool tricks.
Cool tricks.